Hi there, my name is Amber Horsley, and it's my deep privilege to share how amazing our God is with you. So, in my last videos, I shared the amazing opportunity I had to minister to a sweet mama at the end of her pregnancy, in the throes of just the unknowns and the confusion and the frustration of prodromal labor and just questions about delivery and what that's going to look like, and when she's realizing that her hopes and dreams may not come the way they're going to, and just her dealing with that frustration. And so what we did is we just pointed her to God, and I just gave her an opportunity to think about it differently. So instead of thinking about her making the decisions and her planning all of it and figuring out what she thinks is best, it's putting it on God and God's shoulders, and hey God, what do you think is best? And that just opportunity to surrender to him and what his plans are for her and for her life and for her baby. And so she told me countless times after that appointment how much that meant to her and how it was profound in her just preparation for that day of the C-section, and just being able to be calm and just understanding that it's God's will. And we found out that it was even more important for after delivery as well. So when she delivered her sweet baby boy, he had a couple other medical issues. So right off the bat, he was good, and then started having some breathing issues. And so they had to bring him down to the NICU and had to do all this testing and all these different things. And so naturally, that's terrifying, absolutely terrifying. And so they had him on CPAP doing all these things, and then they kind of determined that, nope, they're not going to be able to do what they need to at our local hospital. They're going to have to go to one of the local big cities in the area. And so off they went to that big city, got him hooked up to monitors there, still wasn't doing what they wanted them to do, and intubating him. So just like all these things. And so in just some of their thoughts of doing due diligence for testing or things like that, one of the medical providers was like, hey, I think we should do an MRI just to look at a couple things with the breathing issues. And when they did, they ended up finding something completely unrelated to what they were looking for. But that ended up being a huge gift that they saw that as well. Because that was the other side of doing this test. Most medical providers wouldn't have ran that test. Like, it's not typically warranted for looking at different things for breathing issues or things like that. But she thought that, I think we need to for this case. And it turned out to be a huge gift, because they ended up finding out that he had a blood clot that they wouldn't have found otherwise. But then with doing further testing and look at things, they think nothing's going to really come of it, that his body will naturally disintegrate that blood clot and everything will be fine. And so I can tell you now at the way end, like, he is killing it. He is doing great. And his oxygen stats are doing great. His breathing is starting to get better, all the things. He is doing so well. But when I was talking with her, especially after seeing her, she's like, you know what? It just was such a huge gift, because I just look at all these things about how God provided. The fact that we were able to go to this big city and they were able to take care of those things there. The fact that we were all able to be off work, to be able to be present, because I'm surrounded by all these other kiddos who are in the NICU and their parents aren't there because they can't be off work. And so she's like, I'm just surrounded by and just like filled with gratitude that I'm able to be present with my baby. And I'm so grateful that the doctor thought to do the MRI, because otherwise if she didn't, they wouldn't have found these things, wouldn't have done these further tests, and we wouldn't, have all this deeper knowledge about how to help my sweet baby boy. And so she just was so grateful and just looked at all these things that God did. Most parents, you can be looking at, like, my kid has to go to the NICU and has all these medical things and all these other issues, and like, you can be just overcome with fear and with just anger or frustration at God. Like, God, like, why are you letting my baby go through this? And so it was so beautiful, because she came at it with curiosity and surrender and just letting it all be in God's hands. And then looking back as well, as because of having all the breathing issues and having all the things, if she would have done natural labor, that may have been dangerous to the sweet baby boy. And so, God is good, and just was so beautiful to see just at how much peace she was at after. going through all the things on the other end of all the crazy and the chaos of the NICU and the hospitals and just the confusion and all the things and the roller coaster of the NICU. She was at peace and she was so grateful to God. And she told me that a lot of it also came from our conversation before she went into labor. That just changing her heart posture, changing her mindset of how to view pregnancy and delivery and that postpartum period, she said that made a huge difference. And that was just humbling to me. But it just really shows me that when we put God in control and we take ourselves out of that driver's seat and we just let God drive and realize that He is a good and sovereign God and He has a plan, even if we can't understand it. Or then we take that opportunity to look around us and just to see His good, even in the midst of the bad. There's such a gift there. And so, I don't know your situation. I don't know what you're going through, but if you're going through something hard right now, I pray that God gives you a gift of being able to see things through His eyes, that you can maybe see His goodness even in the midst of these trials, and that you can see where He's coming and He's holding you even in the midst, and that there is one set of footprints even in the midst of the trials because He's carrying you.